In an interview with Jason Stein for Cars and Culture, Tony Stewart, a name that is universally associated with top-tier racing, revealed some shocking details regarding his history with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and his future. Stewart's observations provide a unique perspective on the hurdles faced by even the most skilled drivers, having raced in IndyCar, NASCAR, and now NHRA drag racing. Stewart's racing career is nothing short of spectacular. He's more than simply a NASCAR driver, he's a real racing polymath. Stewart has proven himself on the high-speed ovals of IndyCar and the abrasive dirt tracks of auto racing. His new venture into NHRA drag racing solidifies his reputation as one of the sport's most flexible drivers. In an outspoken moment during the interview, Stewart revealed, "Indy, for me, was kind of a love-hate because I probably put more pressure on myself every time we raced at Indy than any other racetrack in the world that I've ever been to and raced at. I mean, I was more nervous the week of that event than I would be going into any other event." This comment reveals the significant stress and difficulty that even seasoned pros experience at one of racing's most recognizable locations. Stewart felt a lot of strain at Indianapolis, which is especially significant given his little participation in the race. Despite being an Indiana native and a recognized NASCAR champion, Stewart has only made 5 Indy 500 starts. Interestingly, just 2 of these efforts occurred after his move to NASCAR, showing the difficulties of managing commitments across many racing series. Stewart's attempts to race in both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day are legendary among motorsports fans. These Herculean efforts demonstrate not just his ability, but also his endurance and dedication. Stewart almost completed the double in 4 attempts, missing only 4 laps in total and finishing in the top 10 in each event. The year 1999 stands out as especially important in Stewart's career. He made history as the first driver to finish all 600 laps in a single day at both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. Stewart finished 10th in the Indianapolis 500, having completed 196 of the 200 laps for TriStar Motorsports. Following this remarkable performance, he competed in NASCAR's Coca-Cola 600, finishing 4th in his debut. This double-duty effort exemplifies Stewart's adaptability and commitment as a racer. Stewart's talent was not restricted to a single season. In 2001, he again took on the double challenge. Stewart finished 6th in the Indy 500, driving one of Chip Ganassi's open-wheel cars and staying on the lead lap the whole race. Later that day, he drove his legendary number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Pontiac to 3rd place in the Coca-Cola 600. These performances cemented Stewart's status as one of the most talented and flexible drivers of his time. Looking at Stewart's entire career accomplishments, the stats speak for themselves. With 49 NASCAR Cup Series victories, 3 IndyCar Series triumphs, and 3 NASCAR Cup Series titles, Stewart's resume is the envy of many in the racing industry. His accomplishment in several motorsport categories puts him apart from many of his peers. However, Stewart's influence on racing stretches beyond his racing career. As a team owner, he has a unique viewpoint on the sport and has not hesitated to share his opinions on the present status of NASCAR. When questioned about NASCAR's evolution over the years, Stewart gave a forthright appraisal, concentrating notably on leadership. He stated, "Leadership more than anything. I mean, I had the privilege of coming in when Bill France Jr. was there, and Bill was a very unique character and a very, very great leader for our sport. But I think a support system that he had, I think his number 1 support system was Mike Helton, and that is the one person beyond a shadow of a doubt that's still left that I have the utmost respect for." Stewart went on to thank Mike Helton for his work. "We lost Jim Hunter, and Jim was somebody in the media that absolutely had a great way of explaining to drivers, just like Mike Helton did, of why things are done the way they are and how it all fits in the big picture." This recognition emphasizes the influence that effective leadership can have on drivers and the sport as a whole. Stewart, on the other hand, has a less positive assessment of the current NASCAR leadership. He observed, "The direction it's going, and I say this from a standpoint, I've been an owner in the sport, I've been a driver in the sport, but I'm still a fan of the sport too. 98% of the race fans have no clue." This analysis of NASCAR's present leadership structure sheds light on the sport's difficulties from an insider's perspective. Stewart did not spare words while addressing NASCAR's charter agreements, calling them a joke. This harsh appraisal of a crucial component of NASCAR's financial model reflects Stewart's dissatisfaction with several parts of the sport's present management. These difficulties appear to have influenced Stewart's decision to close Stewart-Haas Racing at the end of the 2024 season. This signals the end of a key 16-year period in Stewart's life, and it's evident that the choice is emotionally charged for him. Reflecting on his last day at SHR, Stewart shared, "I spent the whole next day at SHR. It was my last day at SHR at the building, and I stayed probably an hour after employees were gone and just walked around and looked around and remembered back to what it was like the first day I walked in that building. And then thinking about 16 years later and looking at it and looking at what we built and what we were able to do, and looking at the banners hanging from the ceiling, which were pole position qualifying and race wins and the 2 championship banners, and thinking about what all we did as an organization." This touching story provides insight into the emotional cost of leaving a team he formed from the bottom up. Stewart is clearly proud of SHR's successes, which makes the decision to dissolve the team all the more noteworthy. Stewart may be leaving NASCAR team ownership, but he's not done with racing. He continues to own Eldora Speedway and is looking for new challenges in NHRA drag racing. When questioned about his first dragster encounter, Stewart described it vividly. Stewart recounted, 60 feet in a race car, you're running 100 miles an hour already. I mean, that is insane. But I think the first thing that I noticed is wherever that car was at on the racetrack, my mind was a couple hundred feet behind. This narrative sheds light on the particular obstacles of drag racing, even for a driver of Stewart's level. Stewart's career has been defined by his ability to adapt to various racing disciplines, and his entry into drag racing is simply the most recent illustration of his adaptability. His willingness to put oneself in unpleasant circumstances and face new obstacles has contributed significantly to his success and recognition in racing. The discussion included some of Stewart's more unique racing experiences. He revealed, "I kind of joked around. I mean, most people don't even know I drove a monster truck one night at Talladega. They had 4 of us run there. I actually broke my back that night, and that was 6 races from the end of the season, and I finished the season that year with a broken back and didn't know it until I finally went back to Indy around the holidays and went and saw Dr. Trammell. I said, 'Hey, my back is killing me.' And I said, 'I'm eating aspirin like they're coming out of a Pez dispenser.'" Stewart also discussed his Formula One driving experience, which came about as a result of a vehicle exchange with Lewis Hamilton. Stewart commented that it was a really cool 4 laps. When asked how it felt, he explained, "The most impressive thing to me that I didn't count on was..." He went on to describe F1 cars' greater braking capabilities, giving viewers a unique perspective on the distinctions between other types of motorsport. As the discussion came to a close, Stewart reminisced on the most fulfilling moment of his career. "I think there's a ton of moments that should be in consideration for this and that are in my mind. The one that just stands a little bit above the rest of them for obvious reasons is that championship run at Homestead in 2011. To win the first championship for SJAR and to be the last owner driver to win a championship since Alan Kulwicki, and in the dramatic fashion that it happened. I mean, if people go back and they watch that entire race and all the drama that happened during that." Stewart clearly cherishes this occasion, winning a title as both an owner and a driver. It marks the pinnacle of his abilities both on and off the track, and it demonstrates his effect on the sport of NASCAR. Stewart's enthusiasm for all sorts of racing is evident throughout the discussion. Despite the obstacles, expectations, and even disappointments, Tony Stewart's passion for racing is undeniable. His views on his tribulations at Indianapolis, his accomplishments across numerous racing disciplines, and his thoughts on the current condition of NASCAR give an in-depth look at one of motorsport's most varied and opinionated individuals. What are your thoughts on Stewart's career and insights? Let me know in the comments down below.